Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Healthy Schools Revolution. And today is just an amazing treat for you all. I can't even believe I'm getting ready to say this, but we have Brett Hoebel with us today, who is one of the most adorable trainers that you've probably seen on The Biggest Loser. And Brett, I know I shouldn't say that, but it's just so your heart shows through in everything that you do, and it's just such a pleasure. Really, look, you're already blushing. It's just so awesome to have you here. And Brett is the founder of Hoebel Fitness, and he is you've done some work with Beachbody. I mean, there's just the list goes on and on. If you guys would just take a look at the speaker information on Brett, he has accomplished a ton in the fitness industry and is joining us today to share some of his insights on working with kids and families. He's going to share some insights on mind and mindset as far as connecting with your body on nutrition. But before we get into all that, Brett, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. It's really an honor. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, you're awesome to come and share your time and thoughts with us to help get kids healthy. That's our whole goal, and we really want to inspire people to create a healthier environment for their kids when they're at school. So tell us, how did you get into the fitness industry?
Well, that goes back a long way. I was actually a pre-med as an undergrad, and I did that for a long time. I gave it a really, really, really hard effort for about 7 years, actually. I did my undergrad in LA. I grew up in Princeton and then moved to New York City, back to the East Coast to pursue my dreams, to get into medical school. I was teaching or doing research, lab research, and publishing articles to get into med school, and I could not afford a gym membership. So in my 20s at that point, a $100 gym membership in New York City was just not affordable. But I was doing a lot of martial arts, and I had been since I was a young age. Yeah. So I was going in and taking boxing classes and having fun going in with my buddy, but on the 10th guest pass that the guy gave me, the front desk at the gym was like, "You're that guy, and you can't come in anymore without a membership." I was like, "Ah." So my friend was like, "Why don't you teach class?" And I just said, "Oh, I don't feel qualified," but there was an assistant. Mm-hmm. So I said, maybe I could be the assistant boxing instructor. So I applied, and right then the veteran guy retired, and one of the younger students came and took over the entire boxing program for this big chain gym in New York City. So I show up for my interview, and I'm like dressed for an interview with like my clipboard and all this stuff. And he looks at me and he says, I'll never forget, Ted Hoffman. He looks at me and he goes, 20 extra people showed up for class. I don't need to see your clipboard. I need to see you be able to teach class with me. And I'm like, but don't you want to? And he said, here are the mitts. Get in line and teach. And, wow. It's like life throws curveballs at you. You got to learn how to just roll the punches. And sometimes you sink or swim, and luckily that day I swam, and I taught the class, and right after class he said, I don't need to see your resume. You were great working with the people you're hired. So I got my first opportunity in the fitness industry, not for a want. It was for a need. I needed what I thought was able to have a gym membership. I would say, a year after that, after applying and getting into school, when I finally got into medical school and I'm looking at that acceptance letter, it was this huge relief off my shoulders, and I realized, to be quite honest, that I was doing this more to sort of for my parents than I was doing it for me. And I realized truly that it wasn't my passion. I remember sitting down with my dad and asking him, I was really at a crossroads with my career, and he looked me straight in the eye and he said, this is the only bit of advice that I can give you. Find something that you love to do, because it'll never feel like work, and the money will come or it won't matter to you. And my dad really lived this. He was a professor at Princeton and could have taken a lot of more higher paying jobs with private drug companies, but he always said at Princeton, he always said, I do this because I love my students and I love my research. Well, fitness was the one thing that came to my mind, and I said, I want to do fitness. And I'm sure my dad is sitting there going, he wants to go from a doctor to Richard Simmons. Let me think about this for a minute. But
that's not going to work, is it?
He just said, look, you've done sports your whole life. you can make a career and support a family, you have my 100%. And I've never turned back. And I really believe, passion is priceless. For a lot of the kids, if you're tuning in here, it's important to find things that you enjoy doing at whatever age. But those things are the things that put a smile on your face, the things that you get out of bed thinking about. And they're not always the things that people are telling you to do. So I definitely followed my passion of fitness, and I turned out, I think, to be, I was very lucky. It doesn't feel like work. I do something that I think I'm good at, that I was really born to do. And when I look at that's a very snapshot, takes a look at me struggling with finding what I was passionate about.
Right.
But I will tell you why fitness meant so much to me. It wasn't. It was a real emotional connection. And for anyone out there, if you're looking to change or find that your why, so to speak, of what I talk about, it's going to hit you in your gut. It's going to hit you in your root chakra. It is something that you can't really run from. For me, and fitness, you don't have to be an athlete to do fitness. You do not. There are plenty of things. You don't have to be a straight A student to appreciate academics. I was one of those people. I didn't get straight A's, but I really loved to study and learn things. But when it came to fitness, I have a long history with it. So I was thin as a kid, and I was ahead of the curve when it came to sports. I gravitated to movement, I think, because I was a hyperactive kid. My mom put me in gymnastics when I was 2.
Oh,
I think she probably stopped tugging at her legs and trying to do, I was a little bit of a disruptive, hyperactive kid. So my mom put me into gymnastics. No more sugar. That was my first actual introduction with nutrition on a real level. Was I wasn't allowed sugar, and I had a wheat allergy.
Oh, wow.
So in gymnastics, I excelled, and sports became something that, it was a friend. I was actually good at stuff. I was winning competitions, or if I put my mind to it, I would do what I said I would do. And that built this sort of walk your talk philosophy in me, where it was just, hey, I can do this, and it puts a smile on my face. So with that wheat allergy, and so I wasn't allowed wheat, and I wasn't allowed sugar. So what do you think those two things are in? How about everything as a kid growing up?
Yeah, that's everything, of course. So what, that's a crazy lifestyle to try to cope with.
Everything, in my eyes, everything good, everything tasty. So birthday parties, I couldn't have the cake. I couldn't have the hot dog buns. I couldn't have anything almost. And I started getting picked on a lot for kids for having this weird thing with food. Like you're not normal. And I also had a battle with, I didn't look like my parents. I was adopted at a very young age into an amazing, amazing family. But I didn't look like it. And the kids teased me a lot for having big lips and closed eyes and dark skin and this and that, and I did not look like my parents. So with the teasing coming for not being able to eat the right food, I immediately, at that point in my life, was like, I don't want to go through what I went through not looking like my parents. How do I turn this around? So I had a brilliant idea. I'm going to overeat and binge on all these foods that I'm not supposed to eat. So when I went into the lunchroom in elementary school, all the women and men that worked there knew who I was, and they're like, you can't eat that. Long story short, I would sneak the food, or I would say, Carmen, I know that you want the white milk and the chicken. I want the chocolate milk and the pizza. We're going to switch, and then when we get out, we're going to switch back.
Oh, no.
And I was a little tricky kid. But that's the only way, and I started eating. I binged on this food. I started breaking all the school records for eating food, and I started beating this food because now all the kids are like, "Oh, you're cool. You're eating. No one else could eat 10 pieces of pizza." Well, it backfired. I gained 50 pounds.
Oh.
At a young age, I would say I developed a type of, when you're binging like that, it is an eating disorder, and you don't even know that as a kid. You have no idea. And I ended up gaining a lot of weight and then getting teased directly for being fat. So it did not work out to my advantage, and I went through several very informative years being overweight, turning back to fitness, and that became my freedom, and I lost a lot of the weight from the help of my mom, who battled with her weight. She helped put my mind in the right way without judgment, and then the sports that I was doing, I decided to go out for varsity for football, wrestling, and lacrosse, and the combination of sort of that support, changing the way I thought, and then the working out, I lost the weight. I weighed in at football season my freshman year at 170,
Ooh,
and sophomore year I wrestled 120. So in a year, it was a
really?
dramatic
Oh my
change.
gosh.
So me ending up in this career and working with people that do struggle with their weight and sort of have an emotional connection to food and other things has been in my life for a long time.
So that begs the question, how did you get on The Biggest Loser? If you lost all that weight in the 10th grade and now you're fit and buff, how did you get? That's a very coveted position for sure. So how did you land that?
That was a lot of hard. People say, "Oh, how did that happen? Like, was it a one time?" And I said, "Yeah, it took about 20 years of hard work, but it did. It took,
Yeah.
you know, it's when opportunity meets preparation. There is no luck. Luck is what you make out of it. So I worked very hard on my education in the science industry and learned that. I worked really hard on my own physical fitness, and I think the coupling of those two was really important for my season on the show that year. But I had actually tried out for 4 years, and didn't get a call back, and didn't get this, and didn't get that, and over those years, someone that was helping represent me did get to know the casting people on a more personal basis because we kept trying and trying and trying. So the last year, Jillian Michaels was actually coming through our gym in New York and training, and she saw me doing a type of fitness martial art that I train in called capoeira, an Afro-Brazilian martial art. It's all body weight. So she asked me a lot about it. She had a trainer there, but she wanted to train in a new form of bodyweight training. So I worked with her and a lot of her friends, actually, as they came through New York, or I would be in LA, and I got to know her. But I actually didn't ask her or pass my resume on to her. I just felt, she was too. I didn't want to play that card, to be honest. It felt like she's busy. I've already contacted people. Let me use my own merits. As soon as she found out I applied, though, she was like, "You should have told me. I'm going to talk to everyone." So, something else that happened was and this is for all you, if there's any of you people I guess it applies to not just fitness entrepreneurs, but I think this is a lesson learned if you are changing jobs or anything where opportunity knocks. So, the Biggest Loser people said, we're going to come to New York to do a final casting of like the finalists that we're going to bring to LA. And then they canceled the trip. And I told my rep, I don't know if that's a good thing. They say that I'm going to be in the finals, but what I ended up doing is I have family in LA, and I said, I'm planning a trip out there. Just tell them that I'm going to be there. So I planned this trip. It was not at the time of the finals, but it was a good time because they weren't interviewing anyone else. Well, to make a long story short, I planned this trip. I told them that I was going to be there in their neighborhood if they were available. I got an email that day and said, "We'll be available like 2 days, as soon as you get here." So that was interesting because they were skipping the finals and all these things, and I sort of took action into my own hands and flew to them because it was such a big opportunity, and I got to get into interviews right away, and that was a very arduous thing, but it's a lot of preparation, and when I got into that final interview, it was a lot of, I think I fit the mold of what they were looking for a certain type of person, but at the end of the day, I was ready. Like, I was living what I was saying. If you had gotten me 5 years before that, or another time, if I was in my 20s, it wouldn't have happened. I had really been walking my talk, practicing what I had preached, and was able to show up that day and really not just talk the words, be it. And that was the most important thing to them.
And now I can see why you're so well loved, and I'm sure that the people that you train follow you wholeheartedly and believe in what you're saying. And you had mentioned to me in a conversation before we started recording about you having some experience in the school with children. And so I'd love for you, with all this insight that you have, sort of give the teachers and parents that are listening right now some ideas of things that they can do, how they can help the kids, how they can help themselves. What were your experiences in the school system?
Well, we had actually teenagers on The Biggest Loser. This was and some of the things that they said was sort of a common denominator. I've worked with elementary school kids, but one thing is for sure: no matter what, I really believe that a healthy lifestyle starts at home, starts with the parents. And I'm not trying to pass blame or point a finger. I'm just stating a fact that kids are going to emulate the environment that they grow up in, whether it's good or bad. Energy is contagious, and kids learn from their parents. So if the parents are sedentary, if they're not eating properly, if their mindset isn't about taking care of health, it's going to be difficult, I think, for the kids to emulate that. And I'm not saying that a parent has to go out and become, make fitness 5 hours a day. That's not it. I understand parents are busy, full-time jobs, but it can be as simple as taking the family out for a walk together, one activity. It's just something that you guys can do together, or just the parents changing the way they cook, or taking on a couple of workouts themselves, letting their kids know that they're doing a new class, and maybe the kids will join. It's just, the end of the day, you lead by example, and the rest will follow. So a lot of the kids, the teenagers on The Biggest Loser that had this issue, their parents were not active. And this was a big thing that the parents went through on the show, that they realized face to face when the kids were saying, I'm not trying to blame you, but none of this was at home. There were no sports. There were no this. There were no that. It brought tears to those parents' eyes, because I think they realized how much of a direct impact they had with that and their lifestyle. So my point of, I don't want to try to blame parents for it, but I'm just saying, maybe if you're not inspired, if you're finding it hard to find inspiration within yourself for getting your fitness journey going, let your kids be that inspiration. Not a pressure, but let them inspire you, because tenfold.
Brett, I think I think it just broke up a second when you just said that last sentence. Would you say
Sure.
the thing you just said again? Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of parents, I know for sure, are looking for their own inspiration to start their own fitness journey. And rather than always looking within themselves, let your children be your inspiration. For a lot of parents, it is their number one priority and inspiration. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for your kids, because you are going to have a direct impact on them. And if you want to find inspiration, go out and inspire somebody else, especially your kids, and it's going to come back to you tenfold.
I think and you're touching on that, and I've shared this with some of my listeners before, but I was in that same boat, and I'm thin and I'm fit, but I was a terrible eater. I ate all kinds of junk food, and I thought I was okay because I was skinny, and I found out that I wasn't okay. But I had been feeding my kids like the SpaghettiOs out of a can, and I'd been feeding them Captain Crunch, and just awful things. I can't even tell you the terrible things I was feeding my kids. But when I had to change my eating habits, it was a matter of, I didn't love myself enough. We when we're grown-ups, we have all this baggage, and we beat ourselves up over issues, and so I didn't love me enough to change the way that I was eating. But I'll tell you what, any mother loves her child enough to do anything. And so, and dads too, you love your kids. You want to be a role model for your growing sons. Moms want to be role models for their daughters. And I am totally in 100% agreement with you on, if you can't tap into something inside of yourself, there are other reasons around you to motivate you. And then that makes it more fun, right? You know, it just seems like I love you, I care about you, and I want to be the best for you.
I totally agree, and I think a lot of people, kids and parents, think that they have to be an athlete to do fitness, and I disagree. I was an athlete as a kid. My parents were the furthest thing from athletes, but my mom, you could not get in the way of her 1 p.m. Saturday swim class at the Y ever,
Oh,
and my dad, Saturdays were reserved for him going out and like shearing trees and mowing the lawn and doing. He was a very active outdoor person, but they like stuck to that schedule, and I remembered that. Now maybe that wasn't a team sport, but I knew that they were active and it was a priority of theirs. So I think that's something. There's a block for a lot of people that think I've got to be an athlete to start, doing fitness or something, and it's not the case. So, and kids too. You can inspire your parents. Sitting in front of a video game for hours on end is probably not going to be a good inspiration for your parents, but there's a lot of things that you can do as well. You know something that I've been getting into,
what's
very
that?
social media, but Instagram, and something that I really love, and I've been seeing this, which really, really puts a smile on my face. I've been doing these Instagram challenges, and we've been doing short workouts. Instagram, you can have 15 seconds of video. So we just did what we call the tag team challenge. You sort of tag up with a friend and come into the challenge. We had these 2 exercises that we would do every day as the host. We'd video the workouts. I saw so many moms with their kids doing the workouts with them. It put the biggest smile on my face.
No
So,
way.
and they were like, these workouts that we did were 5 minutes. 15 seconds, but the whole thing was 5 minutes. But that was like such a nice example of, okay, they're not going to the gym for hours, but just that 5 minutes that the mom and the daughter or the family, and where it's happening at home and people are leading by example, and it just was so cool. So social media can be a way that families can connect, or another way. If you don't find inspiration, let's say at home, you're going to find it on the internet or on social media.
I love it. Now, that leads me into ask a question about your 20-minute body program, because that's sort of this is all about solutions. It's a solution revolution, and I think parents and teachers are so stressed for time, and you have come up with this 20-minute workout that is dynamite. And so would you mind sharing a little bit about that program with our listeners so they can learn a little bit more about it?
Sure. I want to try to also give some real takeaways for the people that are tuning in. So my older sister had a huge impact on me developing the 20-minute body. I was giving her workouts, and I was giving other friends of mine workouts. She's like, hey, Mr. Big Shot Trainer, where's my workout? I'm a busy mom. I got 2 kids. And she was like, hey, I've gotten sort of this belly thing happening that I didn't have before. I need some workouts. So I started giving her workouts, and they were usually around 45 minutes. And no, I didn't get any emails back requesting for more. So get on the phone. She said, okay, I'm going to be honest. They're too long. I said, really? I said, okay, cut it down to 30 minutes. And again, she came back and said, I'm going to be honest. Look, I'm trying to do the workouts in the morning at around 7 before the kids go to school. So if you give me a half-hour workout, it ends up being I've got to get up at 6. And that's just an hour early is a lot for me. So then I came back and I gave her a 10 or 15-minute workout, and she felt, it's a little too short. It wasn't as hard. So 20 minutes was like the sweet spot. She only had to get up a half hour earlier.
Mm-hmm.
There was an extra round of workout going on, so she really felt like she got a great workout. And a lot of other things, but my sister is a great example of just a busy mom, has kids, full schedule, also an artist, and time is of essence to her. So she had to get something that fit into her schedule and that actually worked, got a good workout. So 20 minutes was like the sweet spot. And I found this with a lot of the clients that I was working with, because I started getting more emails back. So as the emails came in saying, I need more workouts, I'm like, it's working. They're doing it. Now, I also went into the research because of my science background, and there's a lot of research coming out showing that certain types of interval training, particularly high-intensity interval training or
Absolutely.
HIIT training, was getting a lot of more research that showed really, the hour-long workouts and longer than that, and that type of cardio was not as effective as these short workouts. And I had been doing that training on my own, but it was amazing to see the actual science-backed articles coming out. So between those two things of, you can have a great program, an amazing program on paper, but if it doesn't work in someone's schedule and the mom isn't going to do it, what good is it, to be honest? So
Exactly.
between the feedback from a lot of the moms and parents and my sister and the science that came out, that is how I developed the program and got this sweet spot of 20 minutes.
And so if our listeners want to find that, it's 20-minute program. So the number 2, the number 0, 20-minute
minutebody.com.
Right.
Yep, 20minutebody.com.
And you can find that Brett's website is over here to the left. So it's Brett Hoebel, HOEBEL.com. You can go there and see all about Brett, and then you can also link into the 20-minute body there. But that sounds like a great tool for moms to use. And is it videos that come? Is it a video set, or how does it?
We have 11 DVDs. We'll also have streaming available at the very end of the month. But there are 20-minute workouts and 20-minute meals, and we have 100 recipes coming in a book that we have coming out in the spring. Very proud of a book coming out, same name, 20-minute body with Harper Wave. You'll get some teaser recipes coming out with the DVDs, so you are going to have 20-minute workouts and 20-minute meals with the DVDs, and then the book has a lot more. It's almost like a full cookbook, to be honest, coming out in the spring.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Well, I think what were you going to say, something else?
All the workouts are body weight or can be done with body weight and be done at home. So you don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to buy a lot of stuff. I really wanted to make this convenient for people that actually wanted to work out at home.
Okay, I think that sounds great for all the busy moms, all the dads, if they're trying to work, rush off to their offices and have limited time. And it's a good thing to do as a family, right? The kids can do this kind of exercise as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Very good. Well, I think that, you've given us a ton of information, a lot of great inspiration on what parents can do, how they can actually get off the sofa and motivate their kids. But I think I still want one little piece of information from you.
Yeah.
I'm just still thinking, okay, I'm an overweight parent. I am really not motivated to get off the sofa. And I know you said it's talking to your kids, it's being an inspiration for your kids and doing it for your kids, but how else do you coach them? Is there like a gradual baby step in that you give them?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is you've got to connect to your why. The number one thing, if you're more emotionally connected to why you're going to go on the journey, then you're going to go on it, and you're going to stay on it for a longer time. So it's not just, I'm being real serious, is that you have to get emotionally connected to why you want to do this. It can be as simple as, I just want to fit in my skinny jeans. But when you dig a little deeper, a lot of times it's, I want to feel beautiful for my spouse again. I want to not be ashamed of my body. I want to be able to play with my kids more. I want to, things like that go beyond the skinny jeans and beyond the six-pack. Right. Those are what are going to get people off the couch. They're going to have one foot through the door, and they are not going to be looking back. So taking the time to actually ask those questions or maybe have those conversations that you may not have had are very, very important, because they connect you to a deeper meaning of why you're going to do it, and it creates this shift in people, and they're ready to go. So that's one, I think, is getting connected to why you want to do it. Number two, if you're going to try fitness, I always like, if you can find something that you like to do, that is obviously a big bonus. So for a lot of dads that I know, it may be going back and doing a sport that they used to do, trying something else out. For a lot of the moms, it's maybe there's a class at the gym, or something, a new type of workout that they've never tried that they want to try at home. And for a lot of people, to be honest, there's more power in numbers and accountability. Finding a workout buddy, someone that has been talking about it too, a coworker, even a family member, a BFF, or what I have seen this, and this is amazing to see how effective this is. If you guys are on social media and you have certain fitness gurus that you like, or people, they don't have to be gurus. Maybe it's just a friend of yours that's super into fitness. If they start to do a challenge, you can go on Instagram and look at the hashtags, or Twitter, or just find people that are doing it. It's a great place to start, because you end up it's not just the I, it's the we. So you get in a challenge. There can be little 5-minute workouts. You're doing it with other people that are going to inspire you. And I see this because in social media, you have this direct interaction with people immediately. And what I saw, there were a lot of parents that jumped into our challenge that were all supporting each other from overseas. One girl in Poland and one person here, and she had to get up in the middle of the night to do it, but she did it because she wanted to be there when all the other challengers were doing it with their kids. And I swear it was this. There's a new age of connecting with people that are in the same shoes of you, and they're going to support you. And it's on social media or it's online.
That is a great tip, and I really have not thought of advising people that as a health coach. I mean, I don't say, oh, go on Instagram, but I do love the fact that you're saying that's community. That's where people are able to connect, because we're so connected to our technology. We don't let our technology go, but it doesn't mean we have to let connections with people go. So that might be just one of the great pearls of this conversation, is to loop into a challenge already with like-minded folks and get yourself going.
And I'm going to say the thing with the social media and the technology, it's not only transgender, it's also, it will be for men and women, but it's also for all the ages. It's a great way for parents to connect with kids over technology in a good way. Usually it's the parents saying, don't do this, don't do that, but I actually, that's a commonality that you and your kid can have, is you're showing him your Instagram challenge that you're doing. Kids are going to be like, that's amazing. And they can do it with you, and same things. It's so you would be bonding over fitness and sort of this social media thing that I think a lot of genders and ages have a disparity over.
So this will show you my non-technologically minded self. I'm thinking that it's uncool for me to be on Instagram, right? That my kids are going to be ashamed if I'm on Instagram. But I can be on Instagram doing my own thing, and do they just like me as a friend or something? And then they can see what I'm doing, or I don't even have to, we don't have to be connected. I can just see what I'm doing.
They don't, they can just type in your handle or your profile name and find you, and they don't have to follow you to check up. I mean, if they follow you, then your stuff shows up in their feed, but they can just check in whenever they want.
Excellent. I love that. So now I get to be on Instagram with my sons, and they'll think, oh, okay, my mom is cool again. I love it, and it gives us all something to talk about, because I know with my kids, they're 13 and 14, they get to that age where they want to be left alone, and you kind of get this disconnect of, I can't connect with my kid anymore, and that's a real great way to reconnect on a common ground. So love it.
Yeah, you could be like, let's do a little burpee challenge.
There you go. See if mom can out bench press you. I don't know. Can you pour chin-ups with you? Maybe I'll embarrass you in front of your friends,
Carmen's getting after it. I love it.
I am. I will totally get after it. So I know we've had a lot of your time today, and I don't want to overextend our time, so I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your generosity, for hanging with us, sharing with parents and teachers what they can do to inspire themselves and their kids. And you've got some great tools and resources, so everybody go check out Brett again at bretthoebel.com. We've got a link on your speaker page, so that's an easy way for them to find you.
Well, I want to say thank you. I really admire what the Healthy Schools Revolution is doing. I always refer to the health revolution. So to everyone out there, boom, welcome to the revolution. It's good stuff.
All right, woohoo! Thank you so much. Well, listen, you have a great rest of your day, and we hope you'll join us again and inspire more people to get healthy and fit.
Thanks, Carmen. Thanks,
Okay.
everybody. I appreciate it.
Yay. Have a great day.